Welcome to Distributor Product Quality Assurance DPQA Training Part 2. Today we will cover container filling, and we will start with showing you how to fill a tote by scale. First and foremost, make sure you are wearing proper PPE. You will need safety glasses with shields or safety goggles and gloves. Line up your clean totes. You want to do this to be efficient and to not have the process interrupted once you do start filling. Inspect the tote for overall quality. This means no holes in the totes, no water or moisture present, no particulates or foreign materials present, and make sure the correct label is applied. Leave the tote cap loose after you inspect, but over the hole to prevent contaminants from entering the tote. Remember, it is a requirement to document all inspections on the scale batch filling log. We'll get into more details on documentation shortly. Now that the tote is ready to fill, we need to take a retain sample. Always remember that if you are topping off a tote, that you must pull a sample from the bottom valve prior to filling. Follow the taking sample procedures as discussed in our initial training and hold the sample up to light to complete the visual inspection. And remember to compare the sample to previous retained sample. If anything appears off, contact your supervisor and follow procedure number 13, taking samples, container filling. If you are filling product dedicated totes, meaning that you always fill Rotella T4 1540 into your tote, take a sample from the first and last tote that you fill. If you are filling a product group dedicated tote, for example, heavy duty motor oil, you will need to take a sample from every tote that you fill. Documentation is critical to chain of custody. You are required to document each time you fill a container. You will document the date you filled, the product name, the product item number, the bill of lading number from the last shipment the product was received into your branch. You will find the bill of lading information on the bulk receiving log tab in the same spreadsheet. Document the number of packages you filled, the package size, in this case, tote, the tote numbers, API gravity, total weight. You will answer yes or no to beginning and or ending samples taken, the total amount of gallons flushed, a crackle test, so you would document NA if you did not test, or yes if you did test. Viscosity, again, document NA if you did not test, or yes, and the results if you did test. You will always complete a visual inspection and you will document pass or fail on the spreadsheet. If it does not pass, you would need to write in the comment sections the reasons why it did not pass. And you will always put your initials as the person testing. The next step is to hook up the product group dedicated hose. Please note that some products do require a product dedicated hose. This means no other product can be used in this dedicated hose, only a specific product. So make sure you ask that question. 2 allied oil persons must verify that the hoses are hooked to the correct tank. That's also very important. Now it's time to flush the pump and the hoses. The flush chart is extremely important to understand. We do not want to flush more oil than we need to. Oil is expensive. However, we do need to make sure that we do not mix oils that don't belong together, and to ensure that we are providing quality, pure lubricants to our customers. The flush volume calculator chart has the exact pipe, hose size, and length already noted. The reduced common and interface volume is the area of the chart you will always review. In this example, the chart shows the reduced common volume at 1 gallon. This means that you will need to flush 1 gallon each time you fill. Remember the scale batch filling log? You will need to document the total gallons flushed each time. We need to make sure our inventory is accurate and flush gallons do add up. We also use this information to determine if we may need to add an additional pump or extra equipment. There are a few exceptions as to when to flush. The first example would be if you are planning to fill a tote with the same product that was last in the line. So for example, if you plan on pumping a Pennzoil 5W20 product into the tote, and Pennzoil 5W20 was the last product through the line, you would not need to flush the 1 gallon. Another example is if you last pumped a Pennzoil 5W20 synthetic branded oil, and you plan on pumping a Pennzoil 5W20 into the tote, you do not need to flush the 1 gallon. Your hands-on trainer will provide greater information as you are filling. You will have a dedicated passenger car motor oil, PCMO pump, heavy-duty motor oil, HDMO, and may have a dedicated industrial lubricant, automatic transmission fluid, ATF, or antifreeze pumps at your filling stations. This chart is shown at each fill station. You should always use the pump dedicated to the product group. But if a pump is to go down and you need to share a pump, you would use this chart to understand how many times you need to flush the reduced common volume. For example, if you need to use your HDMO pump to pump a passenger car motor oil, you would need to flush the reduced common volume 2 times. So this would mean to flush 2 gallons. Another example is if you need to use your HDMO pump to pump hydraulic oil, you would need to flush 4 times the reduced common volume. This would mean to flush 4 gallons. Make sure to ask your peer questions during hands-on training to make sure you fully understand the charts at your location. Now we are ready to begin filling. Some customers require us to drop a tote of product at their location versus our driver pumping product into a customer's tank. When a tote drop is required, we must have the exact number of gallons in the tote. Eyeballing totes to gauge the number of gallons is not acceptable. All lubricants have an API gravity. This means weight per gallon. So if a customer orders a tote of 250 gallons of Rotella T4 1540, we need to review the API chart to determine how much weight 250 gallons of product would be. You guessed it, we have a spreadsheet calculator for this as well. Simply find the product on the spreadsheet using the drop-down. Type in the API, you get this from your bulk receiving log, and the spreadsheet will automatically calculate the weight. Find the package size you are filling. So in this case, it's a tote and we need to fill 250 gallons. So you would need to fill the tote to 1,835 pounds. If you are filling a tote that will go onto a truck that our drivers will pump out of into customers' tanks, you do not need to fill to a specific weight. Insert the nozzle into the container, or if bottom filling, connect the bottom valve on the tote. Open the nozzle valve. Take a sample from the first container filled. All samples must be tested, your visual test for example, and documented on the scale batch filling log. If product appears correct, continue filling containers to the correct pounds. Always keep your hand on the nozzle when filling. When done filling, cover the container to prevent debris from entering. Zero the scale and repeat this process for all remaining containers. In the event of a spill, stop filling and clean up the area immediately. Oil does spread very quick. When the last container is filled, take a retained sample from the last container. Remember to document that you took the sample on the electronic batch scale filling log. Verify that all containers are filled properly. Turn off the pump. Walk the hose to ensure hose, lines, and pump are cleared after filling. Drain remaining product into a properly marked flush container. Disconnect hose. Apply hose caps to the hoses. Properly store the hoses. Then properly attach lids to the containers. Wipe up spills and clean up your area. To fill drums, pails, and kegs, have your inspected drums, pails, and/or kegs staged on a pallet and repeat the steps we just discussed. Remember to label the new containers prior to filling and use the repack weight spreadsheet to know the correct weight for each container. We do not permit refilling used containers. Drums must be reconditioned and pails and kegs must be new. This concludes DPQA container filling training. Please complete the quiz and turn it in to your supervisor. Thank you for your time today and always remember to be safe. Safety matters because you matter.